Doyen is a bottom-tier loner, a walking academic disaster who's never seen a passing grade in his life. Deep down, he's always wished for the school to just vanish. And guess what? The universe finally delivered. A black hole, darker than his future, rips through reality, swallowing the entire school and spitting them out into a realm messier than a discount movie theater on a Saturday night. Now, unless Doyen somehow pulls off a miracle-level stunt like Cooper from Interstellar, they're all royally screwed. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now, because this shit's about to go sideways. The story begins with Nam Jong-woo, the class president, who stands in front of the whole class, holding a piece of chalk. He looks at the students and speaks with a serious expression. He says this is the last time he will explain the plan before the bell rings. There is not much time, so he will only cover the most important points. The classroom has 4 different paths leading out. The students must split into 4 teams, and each team will take one path. Their job is to explore and create a map. They can use the symbols they agreed on earlier or just sketch it simply, as long as it is clear and easy to understand. The bell will ring after 50 minutes. Before that happens, everyone must return to the classroom. Once they regroup, they will put all their maps together and continue mapping until they find the exit. While he explains this, something terrible shows up. Someone is murdered, and his body is on the floor with blood everywhere. Jongwoo keeps talking and tells the students that they should never push themselves too hard. If they see a monster, they must not fight it or try anything reckless. If something feels even a little strange, they should run away immediately. Then, everyone must gather in the classroom again to find a solution together. His most important rule is that everyone must return alive. As he finishes speaking, something makes him suddenly alert. He notices the bell ringing. The students stand up, and he tells them it is time to go. They begin leaving the classroom. Jungwoo watches them silently as they walk away. Then, he goes to the window and opens it. He looks outside with a heavy heart. He asks himself how everything turned out this way. This is the story of their survival, trapped in hell. A few days earlier, in Seoul, a boy named Kim Doyen is sleeping in his room. His mother calls him from outside, telling him to wake up and come eat. But Doyen doesn't respond. His mother walks into the room and shouts his name. He finally wakes up and greets his mother and sister. Doyen is 17 years old and a first-year student at Seano High School. His mother tells him to hurry. She also scolds his older sister, Kim Do-yeon, for using her phone at the table. Doyen starts eating and says that the meal is delicious. Do-yeon gets annoyed and tells him to shut up and eat instead of bothering her. Do-yeon is 18 years old and in her second year at Seano High School. Their mother gets angry when she hears her daughter swear. She lightly hits Do-yeon, telling her not to use bad words. Do-yeon enjoys watching this and cheers for his mother to hit harder. But his mother immediately turns to him and hits him too. She tells both of them to hurry up and finish eating. After breakfast, Do-yeon and Do-yeon walk to school together. On the way, Do-yeon warns him not to act like they know each other at school. She doesn't want to be embarrassed. Do-yeon doesn't care about that. He only wants her to send him money. Do-yeon says she will take care of it. When they arrive at school, their friends, Choi Wong-yoon and Jung Ji-woo, greet them. Wong-yoon notices Do-yeon and says hello. She responds briefly and quickly leaves. Do-yeon reminds Do-yeon about the money. Wong-yoon asks if Do-yeon and Do-yeon came to school together. He thinks they seem close. Do-yeon immediately denies it. He explains that today is their father's birthday, so they are only together to buy a gift. Ji-woo teases him, saying that means they are close. Do-yeon gets annoyed and chases them. Suddenly, an officer tells students to stop running and be careful. Do-yeon and his friends hear a crowd nearby and go to check. They see a massive black hole in the ground. Wong-yoon recognizes it and calls it a black circle. He is surprised that one appeared at their school. Do-yeon has heard of black circles before. Ji-woo explains that once someone enters, they never return. Over 1,000 people have already gone missing because of them. Do-yeon is shocked. Wong-yoon asks if anyone from their school got caught. Ji-woo says no, which is a relief. A security guard tells the students to stop watching and move along. Later in class, the teacher finishes the lesson and takes time to discuss something important. He asks if everyone has seen the black circle outside. He explains that a tragic incident happened in another area yesterday. 5 elementary school students disappeared after entering a newly formed hole. The teacher gives more information about the black circles. They are mysterious holes that appear around the world, unaffected by gravity. Some are small, while others are large enough to swallow cars. No one knows where they lead because electronic devices stop working inside, and no person has ever come back. He warns students to stay away. If they find a new black circle, they must report it immediately. After school, Doyun and his friends go home. That evening, Doyun and Dohyun celebrate their father's birthday. They give him a gift, and he is touched that they prepared something despite being busy with school. He tells them he loves them. Their mother also gives him a present, and he expresses his love for her too. He says that their family being healthy is the greatest gift of all. He tears up, and their mother laughs, telling him to blow out the candles before the food gets cold. Everything is peaceful at this moment. Late at night, an officer stands near a black circle. Suddenly, the hole activates and pulls him inside. Meanwhile, Doyun thinks about how everything was fine, just another ordinary day. The next morning, he sits in class, feeling sleepy during the 5th period. Then, he looks at the window and freezes. His eyes widen in shock. The city is in chaos. Buildings collapse, and people scream for help. Black circles appear everywhere, swallowing everything. Doyun realizes that disaster has struck. On television, a news anchor reports an unprecedented catastrophe. A massive black circle has appeared at Seano High School. Unlike the previous ones, this hole is huge. The exact number of victims is still unknown. Back in the school, a student stares in horror. The other student cries beside him. Their school has fallen into the hole. Their nightmare has begun. The students are playing football on the school field. Some students sit on the sidelines, watching and cheering. The game continues as usual, with everyone enjoying the moment. Suddenly, a voice echoes across the field, telling them to look ahead. A student sitting there turns her head and is immediately shocked. A huge black hole appears in the middle of the school. The ground shakes, and the students near the hole start falling inside. They shout for help. One by one, they are swallowed by the darkness. The student sits frozen, unable to move. The black hole continues to grow, getting closer and closer. Before she can react, everything around her collapses. According to student testimonies, the black hole appears suddenly and swallows the entire school. A total of 512 students and 38 faculty members fall into the unknown. Only 17 students remain. They are the ones who were outside on the field. Everyone else disappears into the black hole without a trace. Doyun suddenly wakes up, breathing heavily. His heart races in his chest. He is anxious and tells himself that it was just a dream. It felt so real, but it must have been a nightmare. He takes a deep breath and tries to calm down. Then he notices the girl sitting in front of him. She is shivering, looking terrified. Doyun looks around and takes in his surroundings. His eyes move toward the window, and he sees nothing but darkness outside. A terrible realization dawns on him. It was not a dream. The school really fell into the black hole. The teacher slowly gets up, looking around at the students. He asks if everyone is okay, and if anyone is injured. He tells them to check on their friends to make sure they are safe. The students look at each other, worried. Thankfully, no one seems hurt. A girl named Imseon-ah raises her hand and calls out to the teacher. She asks what is going to happen to them now. The teacher thinks for a moment, then tells them that he will go check on the situation. He instructs everyone to stay inside and wait for his return. Doyun watches as the teacher leaves the classroom. His mind is filled with thoughts. What does Sion mean by, what will happen? Of course, they should just go home. Then, a memory flashes through his mind. His friend Jiwoo once said that a black hole is something you can never escape from. Once you enter, you never come back. Fear creeps into Doyun's mind. But he quickly shakes his head and tells himself not to think that way. He looks around the room again. Everyone is safe. They fell into the black hole, yet they are completely fine. That doesn't make sense. Maybe the situation is not as serious as it seems. Perhaps only part of the school is inside the black hole. If that is true, they might be able to escape by reaching the rooftop. Just then, Sion calls Doyun's name. He turns toward her, feeling curious. She asks if he saw it too. Doyun assumes she is talking about the school falling into the black hole. He nods and reassures her that everything will be fine. Since they are all safe, they should be able to find a way out. But Sion tells him that is not what she means. She points outside the classroom, and tells him that the school has changed. Meanwhile, the teacher steps into the hallway. As soon as he does, he realizes that something is wrong. The corridor is dark, and it looks different from before. The path is twisted, and there is no clear way forward. He blinks a few times, wondering if his eyes are playing tricks on him. To confirm his suspicion, he pulls out his phone and checks for a signal. There is nothing. He tries to make a call, but it doesn't work. He realizes he cannot even call, makes an emergency call. At that moment, someone approaches him from behind. A strange voice speaks, saying something about class. The teacher turns around, confused. When he sees who is speaking, his entire body stiffens. Back in the classroom, Doyun asks Sion what she means by changed. She explains that while the school was falling, everything looked distorted. The walls and floors fused together. Some rooms disappeared, while others stretched out unnaturally. It felt as if the school was being reconstructed in a completely different way. Doyun listens, but he struggles to understand. Reconstructed? What does that even mean? At the same time, the teacher stares at the figure in front of him. The person looks strange. Their arm is injured, but they don't seem to notice. The teacher, concerned, asks if they are hurt. Instead of answering, the figure repeats the same words, talking about class. The teacher tries to make sense of what is happening, but before he can react, the creature suddenly attacks. Within seconds, the teacher is killed. Back in the classroom, the students hear the noise and turn toward the hallway. Their eyes widen in horror as they witness their teacher's brutal murder. Blood pools on the floor. The creature throws the teacher's lifeless body to the ground. For a moment, there is silence. Then, chaos erupts. The students start screaming. Some who were resting before now jump up in alarm. Choi, one of the students, looks confused and asks what is happening. Panic spreads quickly. A student named Oh Sung-jae takes control of the situation. He tells everyone to get back, warning them that there is a murderer up front. His words send the students into action. Without thinking, they start running. No one knows exactly what is happening, but the fear in their hearts pushes them forward. The classroom fills with noise as students yell at each other. Some shout for the back door to be opened quickly. Others push their way toward the exit, desperate to escape. Doyun remains still, watching them. He knows they are making a mistake. He observes Sung-jae carefully. The student is about to lead everyone in the wrong direction. At the last moment, Doyun speaks up. He warns them not to go outside. His voice is serious, stopping some students in their tracks. Nam Jong-woo looks visibly shaken. He doesn't know what to do. Before Sung-jae can react, another student, Han Sujin, steps forward. She grabs Sung-jae's arm and pulls him back. She tells him not to be reckless. Doyun watches this unfold. At that moment, he realizes something important. Sujin just made the right choice. While all this happening, Jung-woo stands still. His mind is racing. He remembers the monster said something to the teacher before killing him. It accused him of wandering around during class. Jung-woo suddenly feels afraid. If the monster kills people who move around, then escaping is dangerous. Running might get them killed. Fear grips him, and he quickly shouts to the class. He tells them not to go outside, but the students are too scared to listen. The room is filled with chaos. Meanwhile, Sujin holds back Sung-jae from escaping. Jung-woo tells Doyun to pick up a chair and throw it if the monster enters the room. Doyun hesitates but obeys. Doyun and Jung-woo stand near the door, holding their chairs tightly. For a moment, nothing happens. Then suddenly, the monster appears. It stands in front of them, looking straight at them. It doesn't attack. Instead, it smiles. Doyun and Jung-woo feel frozen in place. Jung-woo lifts his chair, ready to throw it, but Doyun stops him. Something feels strange. The monster is not coming into the room, it is just standing there. They stare at it, confused. Then, without warning, the monster turns around and leaves. The students stand in shock. Jung-woo asks if it really left. Doyun looks at the door and confirms it. The monster disappeared without attacking them. It didn't enter the classroom. Doyun feels uneasy. Everything happened so fast. Just 10 minutes ago things were normal, but now, their teacher is dead. The smell of blood fills the air. Seeing death in real life is nothing like watching it in a movie or reading about it in a comic. The sound of bones breaking, the way the body was torn apart, and the terrifying presence of the monster. It all feels unreal. But it is real. and the fear it brings is beyond anything they have ever imagined. After the monster leaves, the news spreads quickly. The whole class soon finds out what happened. The students react in different ways. Some cry, others sit in shock. Some ask if there is anything they can do for the teacher. But in the end, there is nothing they can do. They close the classroom door and mourn. But they don't have time to stay sad for long. They have to think about what to do next. Not everyone saw the monster, and not everyone understands why it didn't enter the room. The school itself is also changing. The neighboring classroom has disappeared, and the hallways are no longer normal. Strange things are happening. Jung-woo decides to explain what he saw. He describes the monster and what happened. John Seoko listens carefully. Then, he points at the Korean textbook on the desk. He notices something shocking. The monster looks exactly like the figure on the cover of the book. The students react with surprise. How is that possible? How can a monster from a textbook appear in real life? But Jung-woo insists that he isn't imagining things. He wasn't the only one who saw it. The monster really looks like the picture from the textbook. Seok thinks for a moment. Then, he speaks with confidence. He believes that if this monster comes from a book, it can be defeated. It is not very big. It is about the size of a small child. And most importantly, it doesn't enter classrooms. That means they don't need to be afraid. Instead of waiting around, they should take action. If they kill the monster, they can move freely and search for other survivors. Some students agree. Choi Nari speaks up. She realizes that if they all attack the monster together, it won't be able to fight back. Maybe they really can win. Seok sees that people are agreeing with him. He confidently says that his plan is the best option. But before they can go any further, Jung-woo speaks again. He tells them to think carefully. What if their attacks don't work? What if something unexpected happens? They need to consider the worst-case scenario. Seok becomes frustrated. He asks Jung-woo what they are supposed to do if they don't fight. Sitting here and doing nothing won't change anything. If Jung-woo has a better plan, then he should say it. Otherwise, he should stop rejecting ideas. Jung-woo stays calm. He explains that he isn't saying Seok is wrong. But if they act without thinking, people will die. He believes that instead of fighting the monster, they should focus on escaping the black circle. That should be their main goal. Seok doesn't like this answer. He asks what the point of an escape plan is if they can't even leave the classroom because of the monster. Then, he suddenly picks up a metal pipe. He raises it in front of the class. He says that if they need bait, someone should volunteer. If someone lures the monster, he will strike and kill it. The tension in the room rises. Then, Sujin explodes with anger. He calls Seok crazy. He reminds him that their teacher was sliced in half in just one hit. How can Seok talk about this so casually? If he thinks it's so easy, then why doesn't he be the bait himself? Seok glares at Sujin. His anger grows. He tells Sujin to stop talking, or he might kill him instead. Sujin doesn't back down. He challenges Seok to try. If he really wants to fight, then he should do it. The tension in the room reaches its peak. Other students look around, feeling uneasy. Doyen steps in and tries to stop them. He reminds everyone that now is not the time to fight. They need to stay calm and think clearly. Then, a quiet voice interrupts them. Lee So-han, a quiet student, speaks up. He holds a notebook in his hands. Everyone turns to look at him. He walks toward Jung-woo and hands him the notebook. Jung-woo takes it and looks at it. As soon as he sees the words written inside, he feels a chill run down his spine. The notebook's title reads, How to Survive in the Black Circle. The class stares in shock. They don't understand what they are seeing. Jung-woo quickly asks So-han what this means. How does he know about survival in the Black Circle? So-han's answer that they can survive. And if they do, they can return home. The students stop arguing. The fear and anger fade. For the first time, they have a real chance. Now they just need to figure out what to do next. Nam Jung-woo looks at the notebook again and reads the words carefully. Survive in the Black Circle and get out. He doesn't understand. No one has ever escaped from the Black Circle before. How does So-han know this? Jung-woo asks. But So-han insists that the common belief is wrong. A small number of people have survived and returned, but their stories were never recorded. If they escape the way those survivors did, they have a real chance. Seok isn't convinced. He thinks this is just a ridiculous conspiracy theory. To him, Sohan probably just watched a fake video on YouTube and now believes it's real. But Sohan remains calm. This isn't just a theory to him. His uncle is one of those survivors. The unofficial survivor theory has been around for a while. Since the black circles first appeared, thousands of people have fallen in. Yet officially, not one person has ever returned. But can that really be true? The theory suggests that some people may have fallen into the black circle in places without security cameras and somehow escaped. But without hard proof, it remained just a rumor. The lack of evidence, along with fake survivor stories and conspiracy videos, made the theory seem like nonsense. Doyun is stunned. Could Sohan's uncle really be a survivor? He always thought the whole idea was fake news. But if a real survivor is this close to them, maybe it's true. Seok still doesn't believe it and asks why they should trust Sohan. Sohan tells them they don't have to. But since they're already trapped inside the black circle, it wouldn't hurt to listen. Seok finally says fine, he'll hear him out. Sohan explains that to survive, they must first understand what the black circle actually is. It's not just a different dimension, it's a space where everything except living beings gets distorted. That means objects, places, and even ideas change into something unnatural. Doyun is confused. What does Sohan mean by distorted? Sohan reminds them of the monster they saw. Outside the classroom, the school is no longer the one they knew. Instead, it has been reconstructed in a twisted way. Sion had also mentioned this earlier, and now it's making more sense. Sion isn't fully convinced. If everything is distorted, why is their classroom still intact? And why did monsters appear from the textbooks? Sohan explains that at the moment they fell into the black circle. Anything close to a living being kept its original form. That's probably why the other classrooms are also safe. As for the textbook monsters, it's not just physical objects that get distorted. Abstract concepts, things like school rules, textbook illustrations, and ghost stories, also take on real forms. Anything associated with the school can become real inside the black circle. Doyun struggles to accept this. It sounds absurd, like something a conspiracy theorist would say. But the more he thinks about it, the more it makes sense. There's no other explanation for what's happening. And after all, he saw the monsters with his own eyes. Just then, Choi Nari calls out to the others. She's looking at the window. Something has changed. The students rush to see what she's talking about. They're shocked. They can finally see outside. Doyun asks her what she sees. Could there be an exit? Nari focuses. At first she sees light, but then, something else. A wall. The others look as well. And what they see leaves them horrified. It's not just a pitch-black void. It's not a dungeon filled with monsters either. Instead, it's a space where only the school exists. The entire world outside is gone. The school itself has been twisted into a massive maze. So complex that there's no way to tell where it starts or ends. Yerim, one of the students, collapses from shock. The others rush to help. Fear spreads among the group. Seeing this terrifying sight makes Doyun question. Can they really escape from here? Sohan calls their attention back. They need to stay focused. Everyone gathers again, and Sohan continues reading from his notebook. Now, he explains the rules for survival in the black circle. Anyone who has turned into a monster is dangerous. They are always hostile to humans, so the students must avoid them at all costs. Time works differently here. One full day inside the black circle is only a few minutes outside. This means no one from the outside will come to save them. Food is not an issue. In the black circle, the body doesn't experience hunger the same way. A person can survive for years without eating. Skipping a whole day of meals here is the same as skipping only 4 minutes outside. Lastly, the only way to understand the black circle is through direct observation. They must analyze everything carefully and always treat new discoveries as scientific research. That's all the information Sohan's uncle gave him. Doyun quickly takes notes. He writes down the mindset of studying, because that's exactly what they need, to treat survival like a lesson they must learn. Sohan's information isn't some kind of cheat code. It's not a secret formula for escaping easily. It's a survival guide, a set of rules to increase their chances, even if only slightly. Before, escape seemed impossible, but now, they have at least some hope. And then, Sohan shares the most important piece of information yet. The exit isn't at the top where they fell in. It's at the very bottom of the black circle. That changes everything. This single fact makes his uncle's notebook the most valuable survival guide they could have hoped for. Jongwoo asks the group if they understood everything. Then, he looks toward the classroom door. It's time to go back outside. After Sohan finishes explaining everything, the students focus on making a serious plan to escape the black circle. They all share their ideas and opinions. Then, they gather the best ones and refine them to create a strategy that can actually work. Since the school outside the classroom is like a giant maze, they need a way to explore without getting lost. The best idea is to create a map. To make the plan work, they decide to form teams of 4. During each break, the teams will go out, explore, and draw maps of the area. After that, they will return to the classroom and merge their maps. If they repeat this process multiple times, they will eventually have a complete map leading to the exit. However, there is one big problem. If they only have 10 minutes during break time to move, they will not be able to explore very far before they have to return. Seok immediately doubts the plan. He thinks it is unrealistic. If they walk around during class time, the monsters will kill them. That means the only time they can move is during break time. But with only 10 minutes, they will barely have enough time to return to the classroom, let alone explore. He asks Jongwoo if he has even considered this problem. At this moment, Kim Jiun speaks up. She says that there is something strange. She reminds everyone that they entered the black circle during 5th period. That was also when the monsters first appeared. Then, not long after, the first bell rang, signaling the start of break time. During this break, many things happened. They mourned the teacher. Sohan explained the black circle, and they had multiple discussions. But then, after all of that, the second bell rang, signaling the end of break time. If they arrange everything in order, something doesn't make sense. The break time felt way too long. Seon hears this and realizes something. Just then, Sohan starts counting down. The bell rings right as he finishes. He confirms their theory. Class time and break time have been switched. Normally, class time lasts for 50 minutes, and break time is only 10 minutes. But here, it is the opposite. Class time lasts for only 10 minutes, while break time lasts for 50 minutes. This discovery changes everything. Jongwoo thinks about it and says that with 50-minute breaks, moving around won't be a problem for now. However, as they explore more, the distance back to the classroom will keep increasing. At some point, returning might become too difficult. At that point, they can adjust the plan. If they find another safe classroom, they can use it as a new base. Or, instead of returning every break, they can meet at longer intervals. He asks if anyone has anything else to add. Seok, who doubted the plan earlier, now agrees with Jongwoo. He calls him the class president and says he is absolutely right. Jongwoo then wraps up the planning discussion. He says they will leave during the next break since it is too early to go now. Until then, they will focus on preparing properly. The current time is still break time, with 58 minutes and 30 seconds remaining until they leave. Before stepping outside the classroom, they prepare everything they need. First, they make sure they have weapons to defend themselves against monsters. They also check if they can use their phone flashlights and set timers on their phones to track time. Lastly, they confirm how they will draw the maps. Doyun's friend Wang Yun suddenly approaches him and starts crying. Doyun asks why he looks so doomed already. Wang Yun dramatically talks about how scary this situation is. He says they are facing destruction and the suspense of death. Wang Soyeon, another student, tells him to stop saying nonsense. But Wang Yun keeps crying and asks her if she is not afraid of the terrifying situation they are in. Meanwhile, Seon approaches Doyun and asks if they can use normal paper to draw the maps. Doyun confirms that it is fine, and Seon suggests bringing extra pens just in case. Now, the teams are officially formed. Group A includes Kim Doyun, Choi Wang Yun, and Yang Soyeon. Group B includes Nam Jongwoo, Han Sujin, Kim Taehyun, and Choi Nari. Nari checks on Taehyun's arm and asks if it is okay. Taehyun says it is almost healed and that the cast will be removed next week. Nari is relieved, but still tells him not to overdo it. Taehyun insists that it is fine and says he will only use his left hand. Group C includes Lee Sohan, Kim Jun, Oh Sungjae, and Lee Miji. Miji suddenly sneaks up on Sungjae and surprises him. She asks why he is so startled and jokes that maybe he was about to confess to Sujin. Seungjae says this is not the right time for that kind of talk. He admits that he wanted to thank Sujin for earlier, but the timing doesn't feel right. He also says Sujin is a bit scary. Miji calls Sujin over and tells her that Seungjae has something to say. Meanwhile, Kim Jun approaches Sohan and says they are in the same group, so they should work well together. Sohan agrees. Group D includes Choi Hyunjun, So Yerim, Jeon Seok-oh, and Choi Seojung. Seok, still feeling frustrated, mutters that everything is ruined. He complains to Hyunjun, saying it is ridiculous how everyone actually believes in monsters. But Hyunjun simply replies that it is possible. Seok is annoyed and says he feels left out. He tells Hyunjun that if they find students from other classes, they should stick with them. He believes that if they stay here, it will take 100 years to escape. Now, everything is ready. It is finally time to step outside. Seungjae is the first to try. He takes a deep breath and steps forward, determined. He walks out of the classroom, opens his eyes, and realizes something. He is still alive. Excited, he shouts that he survived. Hearing this, other students want to try too. They step outside, and just like Seungjae, nothing happens. Jun was right. The monster doesn't attack them just for stepping into the hallway. The students start cheering. Sohan is surprised and says that if this is the case, the monster is not as big of a problem as they thought. He jokingly tells everyone to worship Jun for figuring it out. But then, the bell rings. Class time begins. The countdown to their departure now has only 10 minutes left. Jongwoo takes charge again. Earlier, when he briefly stepped outside, he noticed something important. There are 2 paths at each end of the hallway, making a total of 4 forks. Since there are 4 teams, each team can take one path and start mapping. Before they leave, Jongwoo gives one last warning. He tells them that if they see a monster, they must not fight it. If anything feels even slightly strange, they should run immediately. He also reminds them that they need to work together and find solutions if they run into problems. But above all, the most important thing is for everyone to return alive. The bell rings. It is time to go. The students step forward and the map-making plan begins.